Hello there, everyone. I'm NBC Connecticut Storm Tracker meteorologist Rochelle J. I want to give you an update on Tropical Storm Francine as it continues to inch closer to making landfall as we go toward the middle part of the week. So I'm recording this around 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Tropical Storm Francine currently has winds of 65 miles an hour, continuing to creep off to the north only at about 5 miles per hour. So the storm isn't moving all that fast. Pressure down to 990 millibars. We do have current advisories. We've got tropical storm watches, warnings, hurricane warnings also in place. That's mainly from Grand Isle in Louisiana all the way back towards Sabine Pass as we look toward the Louisiana and Texas border. But we also do have other areas under tropical storm alerts for the Texas coastline, most of the Texas coastline. Now, as we look toward the middle part of this week, we're watching Francine as it continues to strengthen over very warm waters of the western Gulf of Mexico. Looks like it may reach Category 2 hurricane strength before making landfall somewhere along Louisiana's coastline. As it moves farther inland, gets away from that source of the warm waters, that source of energy and fuel, it will weaken. It's also going to be moving into slightly more unfavorable conditions as it moves northward as well. So we're keeping an eye on Francine as it moves off to the north. We do have an increased risk for flash flooding across many Gulf Coast areas. We've got a level 1, 2, and then 3 risk for Wednesday for exceeding flash flooding threshold because we're looking at a pretty good amount of rain moving into some of these states as Francine moves northward. We also have an increased risk for flash flooding going into the day on Thursday as well, farther north again as that system moves farther and farther inland. We've got that level 2 risk, and then we also have a risk on Friday as well, a level 1 risk there. So as far as how much rain could we see from this system, Francine could bring 3, 4, 5, maybe a half a foot of rain into some of these areas as we go between Tuesday into later this week. We could be talking about very heavy amounts of rain. This is one computer model, the European model. Now, when we look at the American model, that shifts the axis of heaviest rain just slightly off to the east, but we're still seeing some of those big time numbers, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain into some of these southern states. So flash flooding looks like a very good likelihood just because of the sheer amount of rain that this system will bring. Now, in addition to that, we also have storm surge alerts from areas of Texas through Mississippi. Right now, for some of those farther eastern zones, those coastal areas, we have a storm surge watch in place as of Tuesday morning. But most of the Louisiana coastline and then the far eastern areas of the Texas coastline are under a storm surge warning. This is what we're looking at as far as possible storm surge inundation. Some areas up to 10 feet of storm surge inundation is possible. That's mainly concentrated along that Louisiana coastline. Now, as you get farther away from that, we have up to 9, up to 6, and then even as you head over towards Alabama, up to 3 inches of storm surge, and that's well away from the center of where that storm will be moving. But of course, we have impacts well away from the center. That cone that I showed you earlier, that's only projected locations of where the center of Francine will move. So this is just illustrating that we'll have effects well away from that. So as far as severe weather outlook for your Tuesday, we've got a level 1 out of 5 risk. And this is mainly for the threat of tornadoes into areas of southern and southeastern Louisiana. That moves north and that threat increases to a level 2. And it also expands eastward into areas of the Florida Panhandle for Wednesday. And then looking into Thursday, we see that severe weather risk expanding a little bit farther off to the east. So here's a look at tropical satellite showing you Francine. Not the most organized looking storm, but you can see just this is a big storm, so it's not too compact, so many areas will be affected. If not, you may be getting the worst of the storm. Some lesser impacts are possible in some surrounding areas as it moves off to the north. So here's a look at sea surface temperatures. This is showing you we've just got so much fuel for this storm to feed off of in the Gulf of Mexico. But I did mention unfavorable conditions. We're looking at wind shear here, and storms don't like wind shear. It tears storms apart. And that's wind shear is actually just a change of wind direction or speed as we go higher in the atmosphere. So this deep blue, that's a higher level of wind shear, and that's exactly where Francine is moving. So we'll be watching to see how the storm evolves as it moves into areas of higher wind shear and also into some drier air as well. So here's Francine down here, but you see just to the north much drier air, and that's something else that these storms do not like. So here's what we're looking at as far as the hurricane season so far. We've had 6 named storms, 3 hurricanes, and 1 major hurricane so far. And here's a look at the tropics currently as of Tuesday morning. We've got another couple of areas out in the open Atlantic, one with a high chance for tropical development and one with a medium chance. So this is showing you the likelihood within the next 7 days of these systems becoming at least a tropical depression, if not a tropical storm. So I want to thank you so much for watching this update. I hope this is helpful in keeping you updated on what's happening with Francine, as well as what else we're keeping an eye on out in the tropics. So you can follow me almost everywhere. I'm also on YouTube as well for more weather content.